the Auto Obsessive Garage. Chadwick with you again for another installment of the Auto Experience series. And a first for the channel, we finally have some V8 power visiting the garage. Today we're driving a 2017 Ford Mustang GT. This will be a good one. We are in the automatic version, which is pretty impressive. The numbers performance-wise look excellent. So I'm super pumped to put this car through the tests. Just super pumped to have a V8 too. Come on, we've done all kinds of 4 cylinders, naturally aspirated, turbocharged. We've got 6 cylinders, we've got hybrids, we've got all that fun stuff, and now we have a proper V8 to test. Now the 2017 Mustang GT, not a lot has changed between 2015 when they released kind of the global platform model. A lot of good stuff with that, obviously. Independent rear suspension, awesome. So we're gonna up the handling game with that design, obviously. So that's gonna be fun to test out when we get up in the canyons. Power-wise, this Coyote 5-liter V8, I believe it's the second iteration of that motor. The original had something around 412. We're now at 435. I think the latest one has 460. So they continually improve that engine. And this is what made the Mustang. So the 2010 design came out great, looked awesome. Still had around 300 horsepower coming out of that V8. In 2011, when they introduced this 5-liter Coyote and the Mustang returned to its 5-liter heyday, I think it got a lot of props for having a 5-liter back in the day, even though it was technically half the horsepower of the new one. This 412 horsepower engine came out, and it was a difference maker. The Mustang GT was now up there with the rest of the muscle cars and compared nicely to the V8 powered European cars at the time. Remember, a few years before that, we had the Audi RS4, we had the Mercedes C63 AMG, we had the BMW M3, all naturally aspirated V8s. A few years after that, Ford was like, hey, guess what we have? A new Coyote V8 to compare with you guys. And boy, the numbers it brought were fantastic. Increasing the V8 at the time by 100 horsepower was a huge difference maker, right? So here we are with the second iteration of this engine, and again, 435 ponies. I mean, come on, 400 foot-pounds of torque. This thing moves. This isn't, and you know what's crazy? This isn't a special edition. This isn't a Shelby. It isn't a GT350. This is just a Mustang GT, yet, boy, the performance numbers. This is supercar territory not too long ago. I love it. I love that, you know, you get this car, you get the good proper suspension, and you get a good power output. Another thing, the interior. We'll go into this with more detail, but boy, they really spruced things up in here, didn't they? It's a nice place to sit. This is a proper Grand Tourer. Seats are comfortable. I've got air-conditioned seats right now. We all know that's my favorite feature on any car. And it's comfortable in here. It's livable. We've got all modern features. And I can just drop the hammer and smoke most cars on the road. What else can you ask for, people? Steering is good. It's all adjustable. You can adjust the weight. You can adjust throttle response. It's got some cool settings, you know. I'm probably gonna drive it around in sport mode, or however you wanna say it. Track mode, not being my car, I'm not really gonna push it that hard anyway. I'm pretty cool with traction control staying on. I think it'll be a good thing. So, the automatic, I can't complain. It seems to shift when I want it, hold gears when I want it. It's a very, very good automatic transmission. Of course, if I was to purchase a version of this car, I'm gonna go for the stick because I'm a purist like that. But no, not at all any slights against this automatic. It's been great so far, and I can't wait to see the performance numbers it offers. I mean, what else can we say? The car looks great, the interior's nice, the engine's amazing, transmission works. So, it's a Mustang GT. I think this is the most, you know, approachable, high horsepower car you can really get into. I mean, let's be honest. Of course, the muscle car era started. The Mustang was right there with the Challenger, SRT8, the Camaro SS. Maybe a few years before that, we can actually say the Pontiac GTO actually beat everyone to the game, the 400 horsepower game. But here it is. We're in a very comfortable, feature-laden, I'm not gonna say cheap, but very affordable for what you're getting vehicle. And we're definitely over the 400 horsepower mark. So these are all pluses. I can't wait to test this thing out. So follow along, guys, as we take this 2017 Mustang through our objective tests and really shake it down and see how well she performs. On to the objective tests. Let's get this 2017 Ford Mustang GT up on the scales. Curb weight for this 2017 Ford Mustang GT came in at just over 3,700 pounds, so certainly not a lightweight sports car. Front and rear balance came in very good on this Mustang GT, with 55% of the weight being over the front of the car and 45% over the rear. This is a pretty good balance for a front-engine V8 powered rear-wheel drive car. The biggest takeaway of the Mustang GT's handling in the canyons is how planted the car actually feels. In a world consumed by the imagery of Mustangs peeling out of car meets and gobbling up onlookers, this 2017 Mustang GT counters with easily controllable road manners. Maybe in track mode, with traction turned all the way off, things can get a little bit more lively, but during my work with the car, I felt very secure in pushing through the corners. The Mustang GT's somewhat hefty curb weight was apparent when really hustled. Turn-in was crisp, but some plow was present when going in too fast. Switchbacks also revealed a firm but not racing car stiff chassis and suspension setup, as weight transfer was pretty pronounced with rapid changes in direction. For a base model, this Mustang GT really handled quite well. The interior of the 2017 Mustang GT is a very comfortable place to burn hours of seat time. These seats are less aggressively bolstered, but provide gobs of comfort-focused support. Plus, they have ventilation. The dash and button layout are great. I'm still a fan of ground speed on the speedometer. I also really like the throwback to the old toggle switches. Another nice touch in here. The interior materials are also of a solid quality. Soft touch points and a variety of surface areas keep the interior from looking like a sea of uneventful plastic, such as in the case of past Mustangs. The rear seats are a bit tight, and by a bit tight, I mean very tight. GT accurately represents the Mustang GT. This car is well equipped and a very comfortable Grand Tourer. 2015 saw exterior design changes to the Mustang. And many agreed, myself included, that the car did take a turn for a better look. I just think this is the best design I've seen to date. It blended historical Mustang details with a modern car flavor. Proportions were also ideal in demonstrating its rear-wheel drive sports car intentions. Details I greatly enjoyed about the Mustang GT are the hood vents, which serve to distinguish the Mustang GT from the EcoBoost and V6 models. The subtle lip spoiler on the trunk lid, and the Mustang's iconic taillights are kept in place. The 2017 Mustang GT is a great looking car, especially in this magnetic paint, which looks great with all the dark exterior trim pieces. The badge says it all. The Coyote 5-liter V8 made its debut for the 2011 model year of the Mustang GT. It has received numerous updates over the years, resulting in better performance with each iteration. In the 2017 model, it churns out a plentiful 435 horsepower and 400 foot-pounds of torque. These are very healthy numbers for a naturally aspirated V8 of this displacement. The Coyote V8 is a smooth, non-thrashy V8 that easily motivates the Mustang GT to accelerate at a very brisk pace. Power is very linear and non-peaky all the way up to redline. This allows the Mustang GT to be easily controllable through throttle input. I'm a huge fan of this engine and how smooth it is with its power delivery. The 6-speed automatic does a commendable job of reining in all these horsies, as well as finding the most appropriate gear in nearly all situations. I did find the paddle shifters to allow more control, and I found myself using them exclusively in the canyons. Ford has put great effort into refining the Mustang over the generations, and it clearly shows that in this example. The sheet metal is aggressive and attractive. It remains modern, but harkens back to the good old days with historic touches here and there. It also has a very well appointed interior. But let's skip all that. We're here for the performance. Mustang GT comes standard with an independent rear suspension. It's no longer just a straight line drag strip weapon. This thing can shuffle when the road gets twisty. Drop some capable rubber on and some upgraded brakes into the equation and we're onto something. And that power plant, that beautiful Coyote 5-liter V8, that's the crown jewel of this treasure. Smooth, powerful V8 action. What's not to like about that? The Mustang GT puts down exceptional performance numbers, especially at its price point. This is one of the most attainable and approachable performance cars for those looking to go fast. If anyone's wondering, I'd personally option a 2018 model with the Performance Pack 2, though that price starts to creep up a little bit. But I would want those Recaro seats, the magnetic suspension, and Brembo brakes. I'd also want to row my own with a 6-speed manual. That's just it with the Mustang GT. The platform is highly customizable, and the aftermarket has you way covered for anything outside of the dealership options. And with that, I declare the Mustang GT to be the most attainable modern performance car benchmark.